Yeah, I'll always be a metalhead. Nothing can take that away from me.
Right.
I mean, not jail, not people, not religion, not anything. I'll always be a metalhead. Metalhead leaves you all alive.
You're listening to the Great Metal Debate Podcast.
Welcome back to the Great Metal Debate Podcast. Today we're reviewing the album from German metal act Atrocity, their newest release, Okkult III. Atrocity had been around for many years, a project spearheaded by frontman Alexander Krull, who is perhaps better known as the harsh vocalist for symphonic power metalers Leaves' Eyes. The band has changed their stylistic approach over time, so a listen to Atrocity circa 1997 won't give much insight into what they're doing today. Their newest record, Okkult III, follows Okkult, released in 2013, and Okkult II from 2018. I won't do any substantive comparisons here, other than to say that if you enjoy the material from Okkult III, you'll likely want to check out the previous two albums. For my money, Okkult III is a solid metal album with a great mix of tracks. Short of perfection, but still pretty badass. As an overview, I'd categorize the songs in Okkult III as falling into three general camps. Those that are more traditional death metal fare, a few more varied extreme metal songs, and a couple of tracks that are full-blown symphonic death metal. Let's explore, starting with the more baseline death metal offerings. The second track, Fire Ignites, is one such song. Rapid fire throughout, it's a furious beast of a track that thrashes the listener at every turn while remaining on the rails. A frenzied, calamitous feel to it, with the double bass drums putting the pressure in all the right points. Another song emblematic of this execution is Circa, one of my favorite tracks on the album. Just a solid death metal song with killer ambience, screaming guitars, outstanding vocals, and tempo changes that drag the listener further toward the fray. Later on the album, Lycanthropia unleashes a machine gun blast fest of death metal bravado. Next, let's look at the tracks that deviate slightly from this template with a bit more complexity or nuance. Bleeding for Blasphemy has a warmer tone and some light background keys. I really like the chorus on this one. Not quite melodeath, but not far off either. Teufel's March provides a marching intro and then moves right into furious drumming and evil riffs punctuated by spasmic lead breaks. The track Priest of Plague alternates between melody and mayhem following a dark, brooding intro. There are other songs that are even a bit more extreme, or at least have some twists and turns that set them apart. Faces from Beyond is a straight-ahead burner reminiscent of Slayer. I like what they were trying to do with this track, but the structure of the guitar melody perhaps wasn't as strong as it could have been. Born to Kill doesn't suffer from such weakness. It's one of my favorite songs on the album. A tad groovier than the rest, and I just love the main riff here. Admittedly, not the most sophisticated lyrical construction on this one, but, you know, it's heavy metal, right? The final two tracks I've not mentioned, Desecration of God and Malicious Succubus, are both more in the symphonic death metal style, with the latter being even more symphonic-esque. The vile chanting at the beginning of Desecration of God sets the stage, although the track evens out later into a mostly tidy headbanger. A quality song, albeit with an abrupt ending. And finally, Malicious Succubus is my fave track on the entire album. Majestic atmosphere, haunting voices crying from the shadows, and I really enjoyed the contrast between the verses and chorus. Vocally, you know what to expect from Alexander Krull. A deep growl with plenty of grit, but enough pitch you can generally hear the lyrics. Perhaps not the widest vocal range, but he sufficiently mixes his approach up throughout to keep it fresh. I think the vocal issue is partly why I so like Malicious Succubus, which features guest vocals, as well as Circa, which has Eastern European-sounding spoken words, a bit more difference and well-executed distinction on these tracks. As I listened to the album, I developed a love-hate relationship with the occasional backing keys. Sometimes, as in Desecration of God, I wasn't always a fan of how they were utilized. Other places, such as in the background to the chorus and elsewhere in Bleeding for Blasphemy, I thought they were employed perfectly. For a band that has changed stylistically over the years, perhaps this element is still a work in progress. In summary, I really like this release. This album might not make my best of for the year, but there's not a bad track on here, and the whole thing is a ton of fun if you don't take it too seriously. A solid offering that I see getting plenty of rotation in my earbuds during workouts or in the car in traffic. You can purchase Okkult III now from Massacre Records, and be sure to like and follow Atrocity on all the regular social media platforms.